So one more debate I want to talk about, and then we'll go into the honorable mentions thing that we mentioned last week. So there's a debate happening tonight. I have it paused on the screen behind me. That is former RNC chairman. What's that dude's name? What is his name? I forget his name. The black guy that they put in there after Obama won because the Republicans needed to reset.
They had to have a token black guy.
Yeah.
Michael Steele.
Michael Steele. Thank you. Yes, that's Michael Steele on my screen behind me. I have it paused. I'll be watching the VP debate.
I can't. He's a very light shaded.
Yeah. Well, no, I just have good light bulbs.
Oh, okay.
So I have that queued up. I'll be watching it after we're done here. And then during our top 5 last week, we did honorable mentions that we wanted to talk about the Georgia Senate special election that's going on, and we mentioned that the Democrats have a chance to, I guess, put one of their guys at least as the top 2 in order to be in that runoff.
One of the Democratic guys is the front runner. He's simply the front runner.
He's the front runner. He probably won't beat 50%, which means he'll have to go to a runoff. But it would be nice to at least have a Democrat in the runoff. So as we mentioned on Saturday, the Democrats are trying to coalesce around Ralph Warnock, and they're trying to get the others to drop out, especially Matt Lieberman, who's the second place Democrat, but like 4th place overall. And so I tagged Zeus on a post today.
Hold on, before you explain what happened in that post. So, well, I cut it off after a while, and I'll explain why I cut it off after a while. So I'm listening to this, and I'm hearing him talk, right? And this is, to me, is sounding like what is it called? Concession speech. It's sounding like a concession speech. I was like, all right, he's gonna be like, hey man, I love Georgia. I wanted to be your guy.
Go ahead and explain the post, and like who the post is by and all that stuff.
Well, it's by Matt Lieberman. So Matt Lieberman is talking, and he's sitting down in front of it, and he was basically saying, hey, my job has always wanted to be to represent the Georgia people, the people of Georgia. I love you guys, basically all that yada yada, right? So it's just sounding like, hey, he's talking about how much he loves Georgia, and he's about to be like, so I feel like the best thing for me to do is to drop out and support my my fellow Democrat, Raphael. No, he comes out with some, what did he call it?
Georgia contract or
contract to Georgia people or something like that. And I'm over here, like, I'm telling my wife over here, like, because I'm looking at her right before she goes to work. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, yeah, she's about to. I was like, yeah, look, this is what's up. He's about to concede and let Raphael Warnock take over the lead. And then he's like, this is my contract to the Georgia people that I want to give you, that I'm gonna, because you know what made me realize he wasn't conceding, when he was like, I hope in January when I face. So he's basically even saying he already knows he's not even making the 50%.
Yeah.
Because he was saying that he was going to face.
He's just trying to make the runoff, basically.
Yeah, and I'm just like, yo, dude, I almost threw my phone at that point.
Yeah, but the thing is, with his numbers that you showed on Saturday, he has a better chance of knocking Ralph Warnock out of the top 2 than actually making the top 2 himself. Yeah. That's why it's a problem. Like, dude, get out of there, man. Like, you're blowing it.
Do you feel like some of these politicians are too proud? Or do you sometimes feel like some of them are just like, if it ain't going to be me, it's going to be nobody?
I don't know if it's so much the second part, but definitely the first part. I think it requires a lot of narcissism to put yourself out there front and center and believe that you are the one who can, bring positive change. Or you're the one who can lead. Let me not say positive change, because some people do it for the wrong reasons. Some people do it, because they want that glitz and glamour. But it takes a lot of narcissism to put yourself out there, and it's a hard thing, especially when you've worked for over a year campaigning, to then decide that I'm not the one, apparently.
And not only that, we were talking about like you're gonna give it up to a guy who so you've been campaigning for a year, you're gonna give it up to a guy who really has only been campaigning for probably since April.
Yeah, like I mentioned, I hadn't seen a single Warnock ad till football season started. Yet I've been seeing Lieberman ads since at least the beginning of the year. So I'm sure he feels some kind of, and he also feels entitled. He feels like, hey, my dad did it. Why can't I? It's Joe Lieberman's son. So.
Oh, that is Joe Lieberman. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So.
He's the one that was he was the vice presidential.
He was Al Gore's running mate.
Yeah, but then remember he also jumped ship in 2000. Was it 16? He went to
no.
the Republican
There was talk. No, there was talk about being the running mate for John McCain.
No, he went to he endorsed one of the other guys. He endorsed
in 16.
Either was it 16 or did he endorse Romney?
I don't know if he endorsed Romney, but I do remember that there was a lot of talk about McCain picking Lieberman and creating like this unity party type of thing. But he ended up going for Sarah Palin because he needed that spark and enthusiasm. And
yeah, I thought he supported. Hold on, right here. Yeah, he actually after
endorsed.
Yeah, he spoke at the 2008 Republican National Convention.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for John McCain.
Yeah, it's a lot of like, I feel slighted type of deal, and I mean, I'm getting that same feeling from Matt Lieberman. Like
you didn't, but you lost.
How dare? Yeah, it's democracy. Like no, they didn't pick you, Joe.
Well, not really. They did pick him, but it was just George Bush.
Well, yeah.
Strong-armed a little
that's
bit.
True.
Strong-armed a little bit. And remember, a non-conservative, locked Supreme Court said we're going to go ahead and give it to Bush.
No, it was a 5-4 conservative.
The 5-4
slant. Yeah.
I just remember that. Did you ever see? Oh damn, what's that movie called? The one with
the HBO
Nicolas
movie?
Cage.
Wait, with what?
No. There's a movie with Nicolas Cage called
National Treasure.
Lord of War.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Lord of War.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a arms dealer and he's selling to like African countries. And then one of the guys that he's selling to, I think he's a dictator or something like that, or just like a general or something like that, for a rebellion team. And he's laughing and he show him the picture of the Supreme Court announces George Bush wins the presidency. And he was like, you can no longer say that our elections are rigged.
Mm.
Yeah, so anyways, that was a funny moment. But anyways, yeah, just drop out Lieberman. God damn.
yeah. I mean, come on, man. Like, don't blow this. Like, please. So, anyway, that was the last thing I wanted to talk about. Just that Matt Lieberman isn't dropping out. Warnock is still ahead in the
sure
polls.
As hell don't need Loeffler again. Or Loeffler.
Yeah, Loeffler. Yeah, or Doug Collins. I don't like either one of them. We didn't talk about the POTUS today, and I don't think there's need to dive into it. POTUS being POTUS,
Yeah. I guess the only other thing that we can talk about is what did I call him? His Goobles? Stephen Miller.
Yeah.
Goebbels. Yeah, Goebbels. Stephen Miller. Dead Eyes. What's it called? Has also coronavirus. Oh, one thing I do want to mention, because we've spoken about her before, and I forgot her name, but Kellyanne Conway's daughter got coronavirus.
Oh, really?
Yes, she got coronavirus, and she was actually, I think a lot of people were ripping into Kellyanne Conway, talking about, look, you're still selecting this man over your family to the point that you're putting your family in danger.
Why was she at that Rose Garden event? Like, I don't.
Kellyanne Conway?
Yeah, because she had left the.
Because I don't think she's completely resigned. I honestly don't get. I get the vibe that she's not really. She resigned, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I don't think she is truly, really resigned. Honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, she could.
The press secretary as well, Kayleigh McEnany, she tested positive as well.
Oh, the one that replaced Huckabee.
Yeah. Well, no, she replaced the person that replaced Huckabee.
Who replaced? Who did Huckabee get replaced by?
The lady that didn't do a single press briefing in her entire time. She was there for, I think, almost a year. Not a single.
Because before that, it was what's his face.
It was Spicer, then Scaramucci, then Scaramucci for like 11 days, then Huckabee, and then this lady whose name I can't remember now, and then McEnany. So, yeah, she has the coronavirus too. I hope they get well, but it doesn't look like the virus is helping them like make sense of it all. Because like Trump, and I really didn't want to talk about Trump today. I kind of wanted to just end on the same thing, but Trump. I had this like message going out saying that don't let this thing dominate you and yada yada. And the widow of Nick Cordero, who's a Broadway actor who died of coronavirus after being in hospital for 95 days, having an amputation and all that stuff. She said he didn't choose to let this thing dominate him. Like, this thing overwhelms you. Not everyone has your resources to go to Walter Reed and get a battery of like all sorts of steroids and stuff to help you get through this. So have a little bit of empathy. But he hasn't shown that he can do that.
I know we don't want to talk about Trump, so I won't really be talking about Trump. But you saw what I wrote on Facebook, right? When I shared the post where a lot of okay, so I'm gonna give you a story real fast because I kind of don't want to talk about this, just because talking about Trump just makes you pissed off a lot of times, and it's just upsetting because he's just like, why is he there?
He drains the air in the room.
He really does. He really does in his fat, morbidly obese mouth. Anyways, but there was so the two things I'm going to mention. One was I posted something on Facebook where it was a guy talking about I think he said his mom or his sister or somebody died alone in the hospital, and he's like, I'm not giving this guy any sympathy, and he took a joyride, right, putting the
people in the car,
agents,
Secret Service,
and the Secret Service. There's been rumors that the Secret Service is really pissed off right now because they're just like, this guy is putting us recklessly in danger.
Also, absolutely. The cameraman, when Trump went to the balcony and did like his wave thing, the one that was like next to him taking campaign photos, he has to quarantine for 14 days now. Like,
so it's just
Trump
like,
doesn't care.
He does not care. And so that was one. And then I honestly put on there, I was like, yeah, thoughts and prayers, whatever. But honestly, he gets no sympathy from me. He really doesn't. His people, his staff, his people, they get no sympathy from me. Really, they don't. I'm sympathetic towards people who get this illness and whatever. Like, you've done everything that you tried. I even am sympathetic to some of the people who were just like, oh, I just didn't think it was that big of a deal, even though everything is telling you that it is a big of a deal, right? But yeah, they get no sympathy from me because I'm gonna tell you right now, like, it's crazy. So my wife is a nurse. She was telling me how she made one of her patients cry. But it was a good cry, because I asked her, good cry or bad cry? And then she was like, a good cry. This guy had, I think, a lung, or is on the lung transplant list, or heart transplant. He's on a list, right? He's been in the hospital since the beginning of September. His wife is going to come and bring him clothes, but I guess the way that they've been doing it is they've been dropping off. They drop off the clothes. They only get to see each other through FaceTime, and the nurses or whatever give him the clothes. And then she was like, yeah, oh yeah, when your wife comes, just tell her to this or something like that, right? And it was like, okay, wait, comes? What do you mean? And then she was like, yeah, oh yeah, we're allowing visiting for today. I guess, I don't know if she meant today only, but 9 to 6, right? And then he just started crying because he's like, I haven't seen my wife in over a month and almost a month and a half.
Sorry, quick question. Is he there because of complications due to COVID?
No, he's not
on the transplant list.
See, that's the problem is Corona doesn't just affect people who have Corona. In hospitals, it affects everybody. My sister is pregnant. I remember the one thing that my wife always did is she always brought somebody with her to the ultrasounds. So my father-in-law got to witness it. My sister-in-law got to witness an ultrasound. I obviously got to witness an ultrasound a few times. So people get to go. If my wife was pregnant right now, hope not. But if my wife is pregnant right now, I wouldn't get to go into the room with her. I wouldn't get to see I wouldn't get to hear my child's heartbeat.
So my friend actually just had a baby, and he and his wife got to go together, but absolutely no one else can go. And then he can't like leave the hospital and come back. So they were together in the hospital for, I think, like 3 days before they had to be discharged.
It's just
so it affects everyone, including the immunocompromised people. Yeah. So yeah.
It's kind of like I said. Remember last week I said even I'm not testing it, right? But because we think we got it in this house once, and before it really became coronavirus or whatever, we're thinking that maybe I won't get it, and my daughter won't get it because we didn't get hit, but my wife and our son got it, right? Even if I know I'm immune, right? Because I think eventually they said that they have ways of testing that to see if you are immune from it.
They do the antibody tests.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a funny thing to say about that. But yeah, sorry, please continue.
So even if I get that, I'm not gonna purposely go around. Like I said, I'm the only one. By the way, since Trump got the coronavirus, one more person started all of a sudden wearing a face mask. And then there was another person that was wearing it, but I don't know if he felt pressured to take it off and he took it off. But there was one person there who was also wearing a face mask, never wore a face mask that whole entire time. He was wearing a face mask.
It has an effect.
So it's having an effect, and it's going to have an effect, especially if this man literally wants to ride his whole I'm going to believe in what I believe despite what, like Stephen Colbert said about George Bush, he believes on Wednesday what he believed on Monday despite what happened on Tuesday. If he croaks because of this, maybe that'll change some people's policies in their own lives. But at this point, they're not, because this guy is insistent that he is smarter than this virus or whatever, and he has some type of things that he has to. Anyways, end this with a joke. End this with a funny.
Yeah. Okay. One cynical thing and then one, I guess, funny thing. Okay. It's not really funny now that I'm playing it up. But the cynical thing is that the president decided that he was going to leave Walter Reed after only being there for 3 days, which normal doctors are like, this is ridiculous. By the way, the lead doctor is his doctor, who's a doctor of osteopathy. That's like bone disease. He's the lead doctor on an infectious disease team. Why? Who knows? So,
my thing is, like, even if you're the president, there should be a law in there that says that you don't get to decide that this person is going to take the lead. Like, no, the medical professionals get to, but
I mean, law doesn't apply to Trump. Even if there was a law, it doesn't apply to him. So anyway, so he got to go home, right? And then he did like his thing where he recorded a video on Twitter. It took photos where he's signing blank papers.
Or he's struggling to breathe.
The standing where he's like, where he's gasping. As Seth Meyers put it, gasping for air like he's been guarding LeBron James all night. So he had all that stuff, right? And then the White House started selling commemorative coins that say that the president defeated coronavirus. So for $100 per coin, come get your limited edition Trump defeats coronavirus coin. I mean,
what did I say last week?
What?
Darwinism always wins. Right. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So for anyone who thought maybe this would make him humble, no, it won't. So anyway, so the funny thing was today that osteopathy doctor was answering questions and I guess trying to make people feel like the president is fine. He said that the president has a high count of antibodies in the system, right? The funny thing about that is his old time in Walter Reed, they'd been pumping him full of antibodies to try and counter this thing. That's why he has a high count of antibodies. You create them. That's what you put in him. It's like I force feed cocaine into your system. Is that how cocaine works? You force feed it? Anyway, so I force feed cocaine into the system. And I'm like, hey, he tests positive for like a lot of cocaine. Yeah, of course. That's what you put in there. So anyway, that was the thing that I thought was pretty funny.
It was funny because this man is just, he's ridiculous, and people around him seem to be ridiculous, but what can we do, man? But anyways.
Yep.
That's
the end of our politics section. Yeah, and the heavy dose of politics with a heavy dose of antibodies. It's been fun.
Hey, look, this episode had a high dosage of politics at the very end because we were talking about politics.
Yes. Yeah. That's how dosage works. It's been fun. It's been a great episode 7. Have a great rest of the night. And yeah.
All right. Peace out, guys. Love you guys.
Yep. And that's a wrap.